our very first opportunity to excel. Okay. In this module, you get a lot of opportunity to participate. And I love that about this session for us all. Before we dive into this, I want to remind everyone that before we eat, we set the table. And that applies when we're talking about the GED reading as well. Okay. So before I sit down to eat and start reading this passage, I look at the title. I look at anything that is at the very tip top because it's going to give me some context for what's about to come next. So as I'm looking at this, it says this is taken from Forklift Safety Guide. Okay, it's from the Forklift Safety Guide, which, sorry, but I'm like, oh God, like, oh, forklift safety, don't use too many forklifts. Okay, but maybe I'll learn a thing or two. So let's dive right in. But it also like puts my mind a certain way. Like you're going to be telling me about things I need to be safe, things I need to do in order to be safe using a forklift. Okay, so that's great. That's very, very helpful. In fact, sometimes from a title, we can get everything we need to know to answer a main idea question. Now, that is not to say don't continue reading because we want all the points, of course. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to talk to you about just how to sort of read and take a few notes. But I'm not going to read to you because you all know how to read, and I'm no better at it than you are. So I'm going to pause for just a bit, and I just want you to read what's here on the screen. So if you're following along in the PDF, excuse me, just go ahead and read this one little bit. It will continue on. The rest of the paragraph will be on the next slide, or we'll continue on in the PDF, but just read the first paragraph for me. Okay. Everyone good with the first paragraph? You can put a B or a D in chat. Those are my thumbs up, or you can say done. Yeah, you can use an emoji to tell me you're done. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, cool. What's this first paragraph all about? If you just had to summarize it really quickly, like just what's the gist? What's a few words about this? What notes would you take if you were taking notes next to this paragraph? Yes, forklift not equal to cars. Yes, yes, forklifts are not cars. I'm loving it. Great. That's exactly right. Good. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. So when we do our notes, we want to just be like very like up on the balcony as we look at this. We read a lot like rear end swing, blah, 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 like all the actual details. I just want to know what paragraph do I go back to if they're like, tell me two reasons why a forklift is not like a car. I'm like, where was that? What paragraph? And I'm like, oh, yes, my notes tell me that is in paragraph number 1. Okay. Any other notes that you guys would put? What primarily makes a forklift not like a car? What'd you guys say? This was a learning experience for me, by the way, when I first read this. I'm like, the wheels are in the rear and spins around. I don't know that I had ever paid too much attention to how a forklift operates. I know when I go to Lowe's, I get away from the beeping noise because I'm like, that is not the aisle I need to be in. Yes, steering is different. Yeah, exactly. Steers from the rear, right? Yeah, exactly. Good, good, good. Okay, well done. Honestly, yes, and I love that the space to chart. Yeah, this has got like we need some place to maneuver, right? So what I'm just demonstrating on this slide is that you just need a few notes, just a few notes. It's sort of be like if I had to go back and figure out like what paragraph I read something in so that I could go seek my answer out when I'm asked it on the GED, I know what paragraph to go to. So well done. Great job on that one. Great. All right. And then as someone already put, yes, Levine, you put into chat, yes, we need clear aisles, right? We need to keep those, talks about marking them and keeping them marked and all this, but yeah, I got to have some space. Great job. All right. So what I would like for you to do is do the same things for paragraphs 2 and 3 right now. So I'll go off camera and then I'll just wait for you all to tell me that you're done reading paragraphs 2 and 3 and taking the quickest, shortest amount of notes possible, either on your scratch piece of paper or on the PDF. Okay. And then we'll reconvene and we'll see what we all came up with. Good luck. Lots of you finishing up. Awesome. Okay, so what's important about paragraph 2? Why did I include that if I was the author of this forklift safety guide? What do I want you to know by putting paragraph number 2 in here? Okay, so paragraph 2 is about the responsiveness, right? Yes, when the steering wheel is turned, good luck to us all, right? Okay, I don't want to be driving this thing too fast, and I don't want to be going around a corner too fast because this is not going to be good for anybody. Yes, there you go. Good, good, good. Those would be my, let me get my slide. There we go. That would be my notes on this one. That's exactly right. So remember when you're taking notes, it's just real quick notes to be like, if you're asked a question, what paragraph do you go back to? What about paragraph number 3? I had to do this in my mind's eye. Like, let me think about this. If I'm a forklift and I'm going downhill, right? Like I'm thinking about the payload that I'm carrying here. Yes. Okay. Right. Good, good, good. Yes. I got incline dangers, as my slide says. Incline dangers, right? Like, girl, don't you know it? I got some incline dangers. Yes. Okay, that's exactly right. Oh, I went one too far. That's exactly right. There's this whole thing about, oh, I could lose control and I could lose all my lumber right there on the road. And I don't want to do that. That's the cleanup is messy. It's just, I'm going to be on the news. It's going to be bad. Good. It's about the date, right? Specifically the dangers about like how if I'm going up or down the hill, like I gotta make sure that I've got my weight in a very certain spot. Good. That's exactly right. Good job. How about paragraph number 4? We'll read that really fast. I'll stay on camera for that one. And you're going to tell me super quick what your notes are for paragraph 4. Yes. Mm-hmm. Good job. All right. So the load is going to impair the view, right? So I got to keep that in mind. Like, where's the load at? I might not be able to see over it. What about if I'm going in the reverse? Yes. Achtung, right? The German word for like beware, be careful, right? Yes, using that extra caution. Good. You don't have to convince me. You've already told me all these different perils associated with forklift driving and explain like what I have to do to mitigate them, right? You've given me multiple examples. Thank you for the forklift safety guide, right? Thank you for sharing this information with me. Okay, we are at the opportunity to excel. We're going to do question number 1 together, and then I am going to go ahead and turn you loose, and you guys will be able to answer in a poll. But for now, let's try this first question together. Now, what I always recommend when I teach this is to, when as soon as I first read a question, is this part that I have shaded out, pretend that shading is much darker than it is, and you can't just see through it like that. Pretend it doesn't exist there. When I read the question, I should just stop at the question. I really should not continue on and start reading all the answer choices. And I will tell you why. Because my mind does not technically differentiate between legit passage that I just read about the forklift safety guide and all of these little answer choices. And so I start putting this information in like, I just read this information. It is much better for me as I progress through all the questions I'm going to be asked. If my mind stays just very focused on only the forklift hiring guide, As such, I don't want a lot of extraneous wrong answer choices floating around in my cerebral soup. Okay. Because then I'm like, was that a bad answer choice from question one? Or did I read that in the forklift safety guide? I'm not sure anymore. So I like to, when it's a paper test, put my hand over the answers. And on this, just look at the top part. I only focus on the question. Which of the following best describes the author's purpose? Here is where my notes pay off because I can just look at my notes and be like, oh, I got this. And I make a prediction in my mind. I get an idea of what I'm looking at in my mind before I ever go looking for it in the answer choices. And at that point, it just becomes an opportunity to match things up. Okay. So let's look at the notes we took together. We came up with together, right? Forklift is not a car, steers from the rear. I need a bunch of clear aisles. I need a bunch of space when I'm driving one of these things. It's not a responsive, so don't go fast. There's incline issues, right? You got to pay attention. And load impairs view. Be careful before you start driving this thing. Can you see over the lumber? Is it behind you? Is it going to mess you up when you're looking behind you? All right. So the author is telling us, be careful, beware. A whole forklift has all kinds of issues. And here's how we go about making sure they don't become issues for us. And I've called that Allstate Man. Okay. So get an idea in your head of what you're looking for. You can take it from all that stuff I just said. And then let's go look for the right answer. Miguel, you bring up a brilliant point. The title of the passage was what? Do you guys remember? What's the title of the passage? Safety. They told us what it was excerpted from, right? Yeah, from the forklift safety guide. Why do I keep saying hiring? Like I'm hiring a forklift. I don't have any idea. Yeah, safety and forklift driving. Good. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the answer choices. And all I'm doing is I am matching up the prediction in my head with the correct answer. Okay, I'm trying to go down it. I'm like, is it A? If it's not A, gone. Okay, if it's not B, gone. Go ahead, write in chat. And when you find the match to your prediction, just put it in chat for this time. I know many people are like, don't put answers in chat. For this first one, we absolutely can. Good, good, good. Yes, yes. Good, good, good. It is. Yes, good. You guys are on it. Yes, that's exactly right. It is C. Okay. Let me tell you where you're going to see wrong answer choices when you come up upon a what's the author's purpose or what's the main idea. Wrong answers on GED RLA, okay, and in like the GED and the SAT, like lots of standardized tests, wrong answer choices will just draw from a little example, like a piece of the pie. But remember, when we're talking about the author's purpose, it has to cover the whole enchilada. Okay, we have to see the author's purpose in like every single paragraph. It all adds up. It's rowing all in the right direction. One main purpose, one theme, right? Good. C is the correct answer. Well done. Well done. Well done. Okay, we're going to continue on with your amazing success. We're going to put up a poll. Teacher Colleen will grab that. She's amazing. She does all the levers behind the scenes, which helps me out so much. We'll throw up a poll. You're going to read question number 2. You're going to formulate an idea in your mind. Okay. Now this one's a little bit more granular, a little less like balcony looking down, if you will. So you might have to go back to the passage for this one to find the right answer. All well and good. And when you find it, vote in the poll and I'll come back on camera and we'll chat about it. All right, everybody. My general rule of thumb for answering in the poll, so I keep pace with the class, is when we have about like 70% participating, because I understand like people are like, lady, I'm on my phone in my car. I get it. Not everyone's able to do this, even though you might be participating in the class. So I'm going to go ahead and end this poll. There you go. Okay. Got some folks voting. Good, good, good. 71% of you voting. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Good. I'm going to end the poll. All right. I will tell you, let me share this with you. The majority of you voted for A, and that is actually the correct answer. A is actually the correct answer. Now, if you did not get A, that's cool because here we are and we are learning in here. Okay. When they, on the GED, when it says something like, which of these things does the author draw a contrast? They are asking you a very detailed question. They are asking for you to be able to go back to the forklift safety guide and be able to put your finger on that exact thing. That looks weird, right? Because my background's blurred out. There we go. Right? I am asking for you to be able to find it for me. You have to show me where it is at in the forklift hiring guide. True story, when I was reading through these the very first time before I started teaching this, right? And I was like, oh, it makes sense to me about like the turning radius of forklift. Sure enough, the author never actually mentions like forklift versus car, probably because I don't drive a lot of cars in the middle of a warehouse, right? And he didn't need to make that point. But he sure enough talks about driving a forklift and driving a car. And he draws a contrast. I'm looking for him where he exactly says, like, this is not that. And he does say it. He does say it for us. Okay. As we actually put it in our notes when we took our little notes there. Okay. If the author does not specifically state it, it is not going to be your correct answer on a question that is granular, that is detail oriented like this. Okay. So here we are pivoting from something that's main idea where I have to take into account the entire passage. And on a question like this, where I'm like going very like, I'm landing the drone on a very specific spot on the map, right? And I'm like right there, I can point to it. Okay. I can tell you what paragraph and what line. So if that doesn't make sense, reach out to us, okay? But this is the difference between high level main idea questions and detail questions. So let's continue on, more opportunities to excel. Okay, this question is, which of the following best describes the organization of the passage, how they set it up? And you can take a look at your notes and be like, I see what you did there. Okay. I see how you organize this. And I'm going to let you vote in a poll. Okay. And then when the majority of you have voted, we'll come back and we'll chat about it. So take a look at the organization, how it is set up. Right. We seem to be right at like 50% of us voting. Oh, there it goes. There we go. We're moving up a notch. All right, I'm gonna end the poll just so I can share it, so I can show you where we all landed as a class. The majority of you got it correct. That is right. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll. Good. No, do not listen. Do not be sorry. And also, I have to make a couple points. One, what's happening in class here, where we're learning and then applying it, is not our pace on test day. Okay. Never conflate the two. Never think like how fast you're moving in class has anything to do with how you'll be on GED day, because there's other things that play on when we're testing for real, right? Got that like we're moving, we're game face, we got the Rocky theme playing in the back of our head. We're like, yeah, game face. So don't worry about your speed in here. Okay. Secondly, I love what teacher Colleen put in the notes before about like, this is your place to make mistakes. There is some psychology that says like, you know, if everything's good and dandy and you get everything correct, you just feel sort of like some sort of way about yourself, like, oh my God, like I got everything right, like, oh my God. But if you make a little mistake, it does that like, ooh, like it kind of hurts a little bit. But guess what? You generally learn a really good lesson that day and you don't do it again. So in here, this is where we need you to make the little like, ugh. This is your sandbox. This is your learning opportunity. This is where we get it all out, right? You're not graded on this. This doesn't like pop you out and give you a GED certificate at the end. This is just your learning arena so that you can go on and be awesome when you take the GED for reals. All right, let me end this poll. Let me grab my mouse. There we go. All right, can you guys see this? This is how we voted. And indeed, this is the correct answer. A is absolutely the correct answer. All right. So in here, if you look at our notes that we took, right? The author is explaining, here's a danger. Here's how you avoid it. Here's a danger. Here's how you avoid it. Here's a danger. For some of you that picked other answers and thought they were correct, right? Go back and just take a look at, if you read the entire thing, does it start off like yes and then like fall off the cliff? Because a lot of times that's what wrong answer choices do when they're asking this type of question. The beginning starts off like amazing, and then all of a sudden it just like, well, the back part wasn't right, but the front part was okay, so I'm going to pick it. It can't be that way. Like, I'll give you an example. So, like in B, the author states that forklift driving is dangerous. I mean, like he does, and then gives example of forklift accidents. I don't see a lot of granular detail about forklift accidents. He's not like, this one time at band camp, I was driving my forklift and I had a big accident. Like, I don't have like a lot of details on forklift accidents. It's more like, this could be a problem. Make sure you do this, drive uphill, blah, blah, blah. So that is the organization. That is how it is set up. It's sort of like if I'm going to go set, if I'm going to do like a quick little outline before I write, and I'll be like, I want to say about steering, and then I want to tell them how not to steer, or like be careful about steering. So it's just like how I'm setting it up. Okay. Awesome. Well done, everybody. Well done. You guys are doing great in here. Great. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, high level views, I'm having trouble with this. I don't understand Miss Melissa, why she keeps talking about Rocky. I don't know. Just reach out to Colleen. She'll explain to you that I'm a proud Philadelphian. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. So rude. Yes. So rude. Okay. Now we move on to an excerpt from Black Beauty. Anybody familiar with Black Beauty? Anybody have to read it for like school? I did not. I did not. I've never actually read Black Beauty. No. I think it's had its day. I don't know that we read things like Black Beauty anymore. Oh, yes. Brianna, yes. Okay. All right. Well, you guys get to read this excerpt right now. Maybe it'll encourage you to download it on like your tablet or whatever and read it if you're snowed in this weekend. Who knows? You can come back and report back to Colleen and I. Be like, Black Beauty just tugged at my heartstrings. All right. We are going to let you loose on reading this entire excerpt and taking your notes on it. You're leaning in. You're being curious. Why is this? Who is that? What's going on? You're leaning in. Right? You're curious about all the characters because this is from literature. Okay. Oh, did you on the Kaplan GED book? Hey, look, that's a win. Good. That's awesome. All right. So we're going to give you some time, a couple minutes to read this excerpt. You need to have the PDF. You got to have the PDF for this and take your notes. We'll come back and compare notes and then we'll answer some questions about it. High five. All right. We will see you in just a bit. You're taking notes, and we'll be back with you in like the 4-minute mark. I'll come back and check on everybody. But if you're done, tell me you're done in chat. It'd be awesome. Thanks. How are we doing on reading and note taking? Folks need a little bit more time. I saw some dones in the chat, so I wanted to check. How are you guys doing? Done. Woo-hoo. Okay. Looks like quite a few of you. All right. Okay. You're on paragraph 5. Okay. So let's kick off with, who is the narrator? Who is telling this story, yo? Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. It is definitely yes, it's a daughter. Yeah. But it's a horse, right? I'm not going to lie. First time I read this, I mean, I guess in the back of my head, I knew Black Beauty was about the horse. But as I read this, I was like, good, yeah. And my mother whinnied. And I was like, I had to look in. I leaned in. I was like, maybe I have the word wrong. Am I pronouncing it wrong in my head? I was like, oh, okay. It's a horse. All right. So let's talk about notes we might take. Okay. So the beginning is all about this first place that I can remember. If I'm the daughter of the horse, right? I'm describing it. So I have some early memories, right? And they're positive. Usually what I do is I even like little draw like little emojis for myself. Like even before they were emojis, like on the interwebs, I'd be like happy face or like a plus sign, like early memories, like yay. Okay, perfect. All right. And then we get to paragraph 2 where we're like, I'm sorry, is this a horse? Question mark. And I'm like, sure enough. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Turns out it's a horse. And my horse mama is talking to me, right? My mom's telling me about how I need to act. And that's because I come from a certain horse family. All right. I come from good horses, good lineage here. I got a grandfather that won a cup, and I have a grandmother who's sweet as pie, right? And as your mama, right? I don't kick or I don't bite. So there's a certain level of you have to act right. So it's a whole bunch of speech, right? And the mama horse, right, knows that I'm a good horse inside my heart, okay? And I can be this good horse, okay? So she is encouraging me. She's a good mama, okay? And she says, I would love for you to grow up gentle. You are going to do your work well. You're going to lift your feet when you trot. Like all very good things to think about as we go about our day. Please grow up gentle because it could go either way. Don't go that way. Go this way. Okay. And then we are on to paragraph number 4, where we say, I have never forgotten my mother's advice. Right. Right. And even like other people definitely even thought that she was a saint because they even nicknamed her pet. And we don't name things pet that we don't care for. Right. And then now we move on to our master and we take a couple of notes about that. And we like the master. Okay, good, kind man, gives us some good food, kind to us, right? Speaks to us like we are his children. We like him, he likes us. In fact, we think we are his favorite. Just saying. Okay. But guess what? There comes another character, aptly named, okay, a plowboy who is not so nice, coming over here, eating blackberries, decides his stomach is full, so he's going to be a jerk. Okay. Throwing sticks and stones at us, right? We can definitely gallop away, but doesn't mean we might not get hit. So we do not like this plowboy. Well, turns out, guess what? The master doesn't like the plowboy either. Yay, karma, it's a thing. And what happens is the master sees the plowboy doing this behavior, okay, and he comes over and boxes him in the ear. And he roars with pain, and we are so excited we get closer. All right, did everybody basically get the gist of that in their notes? Did you capture it as you were moving along? More or less. You're just like little notes, little notes, little notes, little notes, little notes. Yes, good on the notes. Good. Notes help keep us engaged. Very important because when we're reading this, we're like, oh, not another passage, right? But if we're like, oh, da da da, plowboy, okay, oh, master comes, good horse, helps keep us focused. All right, so drum roll. We're going to throw up the poll right now. I expect you guys to be able to answer this one in like lickety split. Okay, so we're going to throw up that poll right now. And you guys answer question number 4 right here on the screen. Who is the narrator? Who is the narrator? What is your favorite color? Yellow. Who is speaking? We were like, what? It's a horse. It is a horse. That's correct. That is correct. That is correct. A young horse is telling the story and tells us from the horse's point of view, the daughter, the horse. That is correct. Yes. I'm going to end that poll. Good job. Good job. Almost like everybody got this. Yes. Good, good, good. And for those who are like, for the one person who was like a servant, you might be thinking about it too hard and being like, oh, like a servant horse. The horse serves. These are usually very like obvi. it doesn't get any deeper than that, where we're like, you know, a half share of an animal on a farm. It's just a young horse. Good. Excellent. All right. Let's move on. Let's look at, I might have just jacked up the poll there. I don't think I did, Colleen, but if I did, I apologize. What is the setting of the story? We didn't specifically talk about it, but we know in paragraph number 1, based on our notes, it outlines like we got the brook over here, a plowed field, blah, blah, blah. Where's this happening at? Where is this happening at? We talk about like we're locked into this paddock. The blackberries are over there. The master's house is over there. Where is this happening? Where, like, you know, I'm not going to give any more clues. All right. Okay. All right. We got some shady trees, hedges, plowed field. We have gates. So if you are being swayed by thinking that they might be wild horses and maybe in a forest, the whole thing about there being infrastructure tells me it's probably not in a forest because we have gates, right? We have gates and we have houses and it's like manicured lawns. So it's been like an established place. So the correct answer, it's okay if you press the wrong one, it doesn't matter. Colleen and I actually, without a lot of like due diligence, can't actually see who voted for what. If you know what's up in your heart, that's all we care about. All right. That's it. Okay. So a farm. The bottom line on this question is I want you to be able to be like, huh, which of my paragraphs talks about where they're at, the setting? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's paragraph number 1. And that's where I go to. That's the big lesson today. They're on a farm. Good, good, good. All right. The narrator. Oh, by the way, boy, we were talking about a daughter. Sorry. His youth. I got swayed with you all. I was like, okay, maybe Black Beauty is a her. I don't know. Okay, it's a his. They go by they pronouns. Okay, the narrator's account of his youth can best be described as, we get an idea in our minds. His fond memories of his childhood, his horsehood, his ponyhood, right? He's I think back on those times like with in my heart, right? Like those were good days. Okay. If you have a word on here that you're like, I don't know what that means, generally the rule of thumb is it might not be your word, especially if another word like, oh, contented really works. He's content. Yeah, Black Beauty's content. He probably won't be content with us calling him a girl, but that's okay. He doesn't need to know. It stays here. Okay. What happens in the Kaplan Zoom room stays in the Kaplan Zoom room. Okay. So the answer to this one, like you guys are voting, I'm going to go ahead and reveal it. There you go. There you go. Yeah, he's contented, right? Melancholy, sad, like, yeah. Regretful is like, I wish my days were better. I wish I hadn't whinnied and bit so much, but he doesn't say that, right? Okay. If you have questions, please ask. Please ask, of course. All right, we're going to move on. Let's look at some question 7. Before you look at the answer choices, make a prediction in your mind. Get an idea in your head. The narrator would most likely describe the master as, and both words in the answer choices have to be correct. Go ahead and vote in the poll. 100% so far. Good. This is the master, the one that comes and boxes the ear of the plowboy. The one that says, that calls Duchess, the mom, pet, and who loves them like his own children, and they love him. Okay. The narrator talks about the master, not the plowboy, but the guy who owns the farm. Okay. Right. Good, good, good. We're going to end the poll here. We have 71% participating. It's like, you guys are like, this is awesome. My heart is full. All right. Here we go. We're going to end the poll. 75% voting. This is how you voted. The correct answer on this one is, boom, affection and protective. If you're like, how'd you get to that? See my box part here where we talk about, he spoke to us like his own children. We were so fond of him. My mother loved him very much, right? And he takes care of us. He came in and like boxed that kid's ear for throwing sticks and stones at us. He's like, not on my watch, plowboy. All right. questions, let us know. You're doing so well. Well done, well done. Let's look at question number 8. Before we do anything, we pause. The mother's speech in paragraph 3 tells me where to go. Detail question, and it's, well, not a detail question, actually. It is a detailed question, but it says most likely serves to, okay? It is a function question. If you were the author writing Black Beauty, you would be a billionaire. But besides that, why would you have included the mother's speech? Why include that? What is it doing for you as the author trying to get a point across? Why bring in the mother's speech? Why even hear from mom? Okay, it's doing something. It has a purpose. Okay, all right. Great job in the poll so far. Great job in the poll. Okay, remember, if you want to pick an answer, the whole thing has to be correct. And it has to be stated there in paragraph 3. If you can't right now, go put your finger on where it says that the mom wants you, Black Beauty, to grow up and win races like your grandfather. You can't pick that as an answer. You would be inferring that. That's not what she says, right? She just says, like, you come from great lineage. Your grandfather won a race, won a cup. Okay. That speech is serving to, this is my prediction, make sure that Black Beauty grows up to be like a kind and courteous horse, right? That it's a horse that doesn't whinny or bite. Because at that point, Black Beauty is very young and could go either way. And so the mother horse is saying, like, grow up this way. I don't whinny or bite, or whatever it is, kick, bite, whatever it is. Okay, let me reveal the poll. Okay. The correct answer here is to say you were acting out and you don't need to be that horse. That is not who I think you are in your heart. Okay. If you look at the order of how this happens, what comes right before mom launches into her speech, that will help you. Okay. Any questions about that? Please let us know. Good. Great. We're going to keep going. You guys are doing very well. This. Let's look at question number. Oh, sorry. Goodness gracious. I was like so excited. Oh, I completely got out of this. Ooh, how about that? There you go. We have moved on to an entire different passage. Let me go ahead and look at the time. Okay, yeah, we have time. We have time. Okay, so this is our new passage. Sorry, I thought we had one more Black Beauty question for some reason. I had one in my head. Let's put it that way. All right, we are going to take a moment to map out this next passage. I am going to time us more like what GED timing is like, based on how much time you have for each section. If you can't get to it, it's going to be fine. Remember timing in class because we are learning. Sometimes it's slower, it's more methodical. So I understand that. I'll take that into account. But for now, oh, apologies. It was A. I'm so sorry. It was A. Yes, thank you. You are going to read Ariadne's thread and you are going to map it and we'll see how far we get. Okay? All right. So I'm going to give you a few minutes. When you're done reading and mapping, please let me know and teacher Colleen know in the chat. All right. So for right now, read this and just take some notes and we'll come back together. All right, we're going to jump into this. If you are still working on it, cool, no issue, no issue, all good. We're going to just talk about our map here. All right, so first paragraph, what's going on here? What do we hear? What did you guys put in your notes? Share your notes in the chat for paragraph 1. Definitely in Oklahoma. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's the place for stable. Good. Moving, right? Always moving, always moving. Good. Love it. Good. Great. I will agree with that 100%. Okay. What about, whoop, what about paragraph 2? What's your paragraph 2? Talk about the Chickasaw migration legend. Yes. Good. All right, very good. We introduced this. If you're like me, I'm like, I knew nothing about this until I started reading about it. And then it was so fascinating to me that I like ended up doing additional like research on my own after this because I was like, what? All right, because of this, the pole commanding movement, right? As we see as we get later into the paragraph, in paragraph number 2, I'm like, what? This is wild to me. It tells us which direction to go. Okay. All right. The poll is telling us this is the way. It was the modern day GPS. All right. What about paragraph 3? What did you guys put for paragraph 3? What kind of notes? Paragraph number 3. And I'm still moving, looking for a home. Still moving. Right. And there's this sort of like acceptance, like, this is who I am. This is the people that I come from. Right. This is like natural for us. Like I'm in alignment, being sort of like always on the move, right? Being very transit, whatever the word is here, right? Being very nomadic. It's like in my blood. Yeah, good. Well done. You guys did great. And like you just said, Dion, still looking for a home. Yeah, haven't landed anywhere. Good. Very good job. Yes, it goes in the like a shadow. That's some imagery right there, right? Good. Yeah. The tribe was always moving, and now the author still always moving. Good job. All right, let's answer some questions here. We will pull up the poll. We have just a few minutes left. We're going to see what we can get done in the next few minutes. So this question is, which of the following best summarizes the main idea? Remember, big picture here. All of the paragraphs have to be able to support the main idea. They are going towards one single idea. Okay. So get an idea in your head of what you're looking for before you go looking for it in the answer choices. Right. And a lot of these have to do with how the author feels. Okay. All right. Good. 30% of you have voted so far. All the paragraphs have to be taken into account. Don't forget that. We have that this is the Chickasaw tradition, and the author is in alignment with that, right? Realizes like this is who she is. This is her nature based on her people that she comes from. All right. So 58% of you have voted. Okay. What's the general sentiment? Answer me this. What's the general sentiment for that author? Do you think they're like okay with this? Do you think they are perfectly fine with their heritage, or are they like railing against it? Are they like upset that this is like who they come from and they can't have like, they're not content with it? Okay. Yeah, definitely. Right. At worst, the author's like resigned to it. But more than that, there's almost like a little bit of like, well, at best, there would be a pride in it, right? Maybe the author falls somewhere in between those two extremes. But yeah, I will tell you this, the author is not railing against it. And so that should be able to allow you to get rid of some answer choices that you're like, oh, that's the wrong word. Like in B, where it says the author feels trapped. I'm like, the author doesn't feel trapped. As soon as I read that, I'm like, wrong charged word, not B, right? Okay. All right. So we'll end the poll. I'm going to show you the right answer. The right answer here is like, this is like, this is how I do, right? This is how I do. Okay. Any questions or concerns about that? You can put them into chat. Most of you voted for C though. Most of you ended up voting for C. So I feel like we're on a good trajectory here.